Welcome to Lifting the Lid on Technology, a podcast series brought to you by SoftSource in association with New Zealand's leading IT vendors and experts. I'm Barry White, VCIO Principal Consultant at SoftSource. In this series, we explore opportunities and challenges in the world of IT.
Well, this week we have the recidivist Philip Meyer. And for those who don't know Phil, he is the founder and director of Catalyst 345, formerly of Microsoft fame. 17 years now, Phil. That must be some kind of record, I think.
I think it might be. I haven't done enough, AI research to get the truth on that, but 17 years is a long time to be broadcasting, all the way back to SPLA days and to where we are today with the CSP program and all the security in AI. It's been good. It's only every month, so I think we're pushing about 170.
Oh, wow. That's a big number. So, Phil, I thought we'd pick up where we left off last time, and I guess we drifted into AI, which is pretty inevitable these days. I think people are taking a much more critical look at AI, and certainly in the Microsoft world, I think there's very few people who could say they haven't tried Copilot, whether that be the free version they get with their subscription or the paid version. And people are starting to write, I don't know if they're writing better emails, but they're probably writing their emails faster. But it's, there's kind of mixed feelings out there, I guess, in terms of this kind of shows you money, right?
A good one to start with, because it has been a recurring theme in talking to partners. They dabble a little bit with Copilot in their business with a few people, but they really haven't gone holistically across the business. I'm so glad that you mentioned that there's a free version of Copilot. And under that mantra of Microsoft has, Copilot is the UI for AI, doesn't necessarily mean you got to buy the paid for M365 Copilot. I mean, I love it. I use it and it's incredibly productive for me. And the small amount of outlay, like $30 a month, is well and truly worth it for summarization and creating PowerPoint and doing that sort of thing in my life. And you get a whole lot of security and governance that comes with that. You pay your $30 because you want to increase your productivity in terms of recording Teams meetings and getting transcripts and getting action points created. You don't get that with the other products. You don't get grounding and security and safety of your documents with those other products. Look, I really want to emphasize that business angle, that this is a business conversation when you're thinking about the Copilot for work, and it is worth that investment in the paid for version to increase your productivity around work. But if I may, there is another aspect where I'll go back to Copilot as the UI for AI, which is in business processes.
Yeah.
And that's where I think maybe it's even not mentioned inside many businesses across Australia and New Zealand today. They're actually using Copilot for business automation, for connecting to CRM systems, ERP systems, manufacturing systems, and the like. They just think of it as the way they work, generative AI. Now, I can say that in big business, both countries are using that technology today to automate. It hasn't really come down into the small, medium business yet. That's, I think, an opportunity for the partner community to seize on using, technology like the Fabrics and the Copilot Studios. I think that many of the POCs in mid-market have failed because of the lack of executive sponsorship. I do mean that executive sponsorship, not just handing it to an IT manager and say, hey, go do this IT thing. Because it's not an IT transformation, it's a business transformation. So it's going to take the business to transform. And in that light of being a business transformation, we do need to think beyond just consumer grade. Oh, I want a query and I get a quick answer. I'll give it a document. I'll give it a price list, analyze this. It's got to be a much more complete business process. Long answer, because it's something I have been really grappling with over the last month. Oh, why do I have to pay for Copilot? Well, you don't. You got the free one and you can apply that in a business process. Don't think about Word. Don't think about OneDrive. Don't think about your email. Think about Copilot giving you that business outcome.
What I've been saying to clients is I said, look, you've got to look at AI a little bit like the advent of, say, cellular technology or the advent of the internet, both of which we're all old enough to remember when those things came around. Those things were significant, right? And they've now embedded themselves into our day-to-day lives. And if you want to go back even further, television and radio, both massively influential technologies on society. And you've got to think of AI in that respect. So no, it's not a fad. It's here to stay, and it's going to very much be part of our lives. On the hype front, I think there is a lot of hype. I think it's a bit of a gold rush. And thinking back to the dot-com era when we saw the crash of the NASDAQ, very, very similar culture at the time, very similar conditions. And, Claude, for example, with, Anthropic with Claude is absolutely smashing it right now. So all these companies they haven't got a hope of getting a return on investment in the next 5 years. That's not going to happen. They're looking at probably a 10 to 15-year ROI on their investments in AI. So what I'm saying to my clients is, look, as you say, be really strategic about this. Think about your business. Don't get drawn into the FOMO, like, oh, just do something because you think you should do. Do it for the right reasons. And when it comes to productivity, don't get too focused on saving time. Focus on the things that you hate doing, or the things that make you better at your job. I communicate better, provide better service to your customers. But don't get too fixated on this number of saving X amount of hours per week, because you're probably not going to do anything useful with it, right?
Well, that last statement is a very Microsoft 365 kind of personal
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
productivity perspective. This AI thing is a transformation for the business. Now,
Yeah.
you used great reference points earlier in that. Electricity.
Yeah.
People didn't pilot electricity.
Mm.
They adopted electricity.
Mm.
In factories, they said, right, we're shutting down the steam engine and we're electrifying the business.
Yeah.
We're not using propeller planes anymore. We're going to go to the jet age.
Yeah.
Yes, we still had some propeller planes out there and they still exist in the small end, but the jet age really came to us. The mobile phone came. Wow. It wasn't a case of, oh, I'm going to try a mobile phone. If I don't like it, I'm going to give it back. No, we just got into it.
Mm.
AI deserves the same respect.
Mm.
This isn't try it out and see what it's like and give it back. No, you've got to think seriously. As you said, this is a business transformation. There are tools, and arguably Microsoft probably has too many tools, and that's why it makes it hard for a customer to understand the wealth that they've got.
Yeah.
But to your other point, which is around the future, this is a long game. And I think Google and Microsoft and AWS, those big guys, are playing it as a long game.
Mm.
Then Gemini with their technologies and the Google backend will be better.
Mm.
So don't bet on one LLM, right?
Mm.
Don't bet on OpenAI. Don't just bet on Anthropic. Give yourself choice by having your UI,
Mm.
Mistrals, DaVincis. There's so many others that you can draw on
Yeah.
in your development. So you've got choice, but it's a long game.
Do you think people understand that? When I talk to people about Copilot, they talk about it like it's a language model, and they compare it, as you say, to OpenAI or Claude or whatever. There are people running around the industry almost encouraging this behavior, like you need to pick this one because it's better, or pick that one because it does this better. Whereas in reality, if we just pick on, say, Microsoft and Google in this conversation, they both are really platforms that are hosting multiple language models, and that will broaden over time. You can choose a whole bunch of different models. So do you think this is a problem? Because maybe as human beings, we want to back a football team, right? It's just how we are. We just, we're fanboys, and, we want everybody to go, oh, I'm going to go with this because it's the best, right? Do you think that's just human nature?
Yeah, I think human nature likes to simplify things. They like to have simple decisions to make. But I worry for those organizations. Oh, it's simple. This Microsoft stuff, there's like 40 different components in the last picture I saw of their AI business solutions yesterday. 40 different components across developer, security, productivity, business process, business applications, security, governance, compliance. Gosh, I just probably went through 40 words there without naming all the products. There is so much to what they offer. But somebody says, oh, just use ChatGPT and pay for the enterprise bit so you get safety and you're done. No, you're not. You're not done. You haven't automated your business. You haven't got true security and governance and compliance. You haven't got insider risk management, all those other things that Microsoft gives. But it's simple. Somebody says, oh, I just use ChatGPT. Great new consumer life. Great if you're a tiny business doing some very safe things because you're disconnected from the web.
Yeah.
But I guess I'm showing my frustration that customers don't get it, that even partners don't get it, that sometimes you've got to understand the sophistication of something and understand that it is complex and appreciate it, and then find in your own ways the simplification of that, because people do tend to buy something that's simple In terms of picking a football team, I want to pick the team that's got all the players rather than just the star. I mean, there's the strength of the All Blacks, isn't it? Every position is a strong position. It's not like the Wallabies who've got a couple of star players and then there's a fair bit of kind of middle of the roaders.
Are you changing teams there, Phil? Are you
No,
crossing
I'm
the
just
ditch?
speaking the truth, mate.
Well, I'm looking at the old clock here, Phil, and I know you've got another commitment. I quite like to ask my guests a couple of, like say, more lighter, reflective sort of questions. Sometimes a bit of fun. Hope you're up for that. What's a belief that you had a year ago that perhaps you're not so sure about now?
The belief I had a year ago that I'm now not so sure of. I think the belief that is held more broadly than just AI is that young people are the fast adopters and the only adopters and old people aren't.
Yeah.
I'm an old person. I'm 66 this year. And my network of friends, they're all over it. My
Yeah.
bike riding mates, they're all over using AI. If I look at my wife and her network of people at Pilates and where she goes for various things, they're all over it. So this perception that old people are slow and slow adopters is a falsehood to me. I believe this is electricity is an analogy. Old people and young people adopted electricity when it came out, whether it was radiators or powering TVs or to drive washing machines. And I think the same is true now. And if I may say, I think the older people are smarter users. I think they're using it with intent, not just because it's cool and because they can say it. So to your question, don't think old people are slow at adopting AI.
So an interesting perspective, and you've got a couple of years on me, Phil, but not too many.
Don't give it away. I won't go give the number now.
But if people who know me well, they'll hear me talk a lot about, using your voice as opposed to typing. And I'm probably a bit of a lone warrior there. You're right. A lot of young people look at me sort of weirdly like, well, what do you want to do that for? The life of them, they can't see why they'd use their voice. But as an older person and somebody, I think I've got a pretty curious mind. I give much better prompts that way. So I actually give the AI much better instructions. And as a result of that, I feel I get really good responses. And friends and other people using AI, I think they're buying into that as an idea because most of them, like me, they're lousy typists, right? Most people in my generation are not touch typists. It's not a skill we've all mastered. So this conversational thing sounds a hell of a lot easier, right?
Oh, and I agree. The conversation, I use that too. I don't use it in a public space. And it doesn't matter if I stumble and trip and I repeat and I have a bit of a pause and then let it go and think, it doesn't care. As long as you say please and thank you, it won't get you when it becomes a Terminator. And don't worry about the voice. If you don't like the voice that the AI is using in conversation, they usually have a few choices. So try a few different voices out. Personality, sometimes they're very almost condescending. Oh, I'd love to help you with that today. Oh, I love the thought proposition you've created there, Philip. And no, I don't need that.
Maybe we can get into memory on the next future episode and talk a little bit about how people can tell their AI to communicate with them a certain way, right? Anyway, Phil, I know you've got another commitment, so I'm going to let you go. Hopefully we can get you back next time. And until then,
be well.
Yeah, you too. Take care.
Bye.
Cheers. That brings us to the end of this episode of Lifting the Lid on Technology. To learn more about how SoftSource can support you on any of the topics covered today, visit svbgroup.co.nz/insights or find us on LinkedIn. I'm Barry White, and thank you for listening. Join us next time.